Yeah. Hi, Russ. Great to have you back again here. Russ Tanner, Hans from Project Lights Out. The Green Day. It's a 24-hour live stream, and I'm so happy to see you because it's for the whole world, 24 hours, and anyway, it will be recorded for YouTube. The same time here. Now the people can watch us live, and yeah, after that live stream, I upload it directly to YouTube, so it will be on YouTube 1 hour later, let's say. We don't have to wait weeks like in the past. This Ustream works just excellent. Okay, how are you doing?
Good, good. I'm hanging in there. How about you?
Yeah, I see you look different. I mean, my beard is growing and you cut your beard, right?
Yeah,
Because
a couple days ago I did a complete clean shave. I'm gonna let it grow back in, but I just wanted to start over, so I gave
okay.
myself a clean shave there.
Okay, I thought, is that Russ Tanner
Yeah.
or who is that guy? But it's really you. Excellent. Okay,
Yeah, it's me.
excellent. Yeah, yeah. The voice is the same, just the outfit is different. I mean, I changed my look so many times. You know, sometimes I don't have anything. Sometimes I'm bald. Sometimes now it's growing. I have now longer hair. So yeah, that's life. We should just live like we want to live, and don't live with obligations. Okay, great to have you here. And yeah, I remember last time you called me. I didn't even know that I was live on your show. I thought that will be later, but I was. You called me just being close to my bed and whatever. So I remember that moment when you put still the video of the pilot. I asked about the chemtrails. So guess
Mhm.
what? After that, I don't know how many days later, but that video was gone. It was censored because of
Mhm.
copyright or whatever. But it's not really true because I did the video. You know, I had my flip cam. It's an old camera, but with a very good HD function. So I used that, and even when I made the interview, and he asked me, "Are you filming me?" And I say, "Maybe." I didn't even say, "No, I'm not filming you." So I didn't lie. You know, I say, "Maybe it can be, of course." You know,
Right,
and
right.
yeah, yeah, that's just for the trolls who are thinking, "Why did you do that?" And you cannot record someone. I mean, we are in free speech. I mean, everybody can say what he wants and whatever. You know, and I really felt that that pilot also wanted to even to talk more, but maybe he was obligated to don't explain more or whatever. We will talk about all this very in details because I have heard that interview over and over and over again, and there in every sentence, what the pilot says, there is something very important, you know. So yeah, it's very suspicious that that video is gone. I tried to find it on your website where you uploaded it also, and of course you mirrored my link, so it wasn't there anymore either. And then finally I found, thanks God that I'm also on many Facebook groups. I found Max Bliss. I hope he can join us also, because I don't know where he lives. I think in England or in Europe. They have 7 hours more. You know, they're ahead of our time if he's there. So maybe he's just sleeping now. But yeah, maybe he will get up. I hope so, because we need to be united in this, because people have to know the truth. So yeah, on Max Bliss, he posted a post from another person who had that video in the website, so it was not on YouTube anymore. It was on a website, and of course, it's more difficult to delete a video on your own paid website, for example. So I think that video is still there, uncensored, let's say, without um, covering the face or whatever. So I found it there. I also downloaded it again. I mean, I still have the original in HD, which is more than 100 megas. I think 150 megas or something like that. So I uploaded it also to media file, just in case if people ask for it, they can download it for free. I mean, the only person who could have a copyright would be me, but I don't care. I mean, it's for free. People have to know. I don't gain any money from it. I don't want any money from it. I just want that the truth is spoken, that people know what's really happening. So yeah, YouTube was censoring it, and I mean, if it was would be the pilot, he just could contact me and say, "Hi Hans, I'm the pilot, blah 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 blah. Please take out that video. I got some problems or whatever." But I never was contacted by the pilot directly. Maybe he not even knows about it, because who knows? But I think maybe he knows it. But you know, if someone talks, someone who is working for the government, or someone who is who knows that thing, maybe he gets some order. Don't talk to that person, to Hans, anymore, because you already did that mistake to talk too much, you know. So he never contacted me. But other people say, Hans, you did a mistake. You interviewed without asking. I asked him. I say, can I have ask you something? Do you know what a chemtrail is? Yes, I do know what a chemtrail is, you know. He didn't deny it. So other people say, no, the pilot never said that he knows about chemtrails. Of course, that was almost the first thing he said, that he really knows what it is. So yeah, it's very, very suspicious here. There, I think government trolls, maybe, because normally people want to know more. I mean, if I see something, I don't deny that, you know. I say, okay, tell me more, you know, and not, nah, that's bullshit or whatever. So there's really something true on this video. What do you think about that video?
Well, I think it was a great catch. I think that it's a shame that pilots aren't coming out, and being that we are facing the largest crime against humanity in human history, and that's what I always call this, because that's what it is. It's just unbelievable. People in the future are going to look back and say, what was wrong with you people? How did you know that this was going on, and so much of the public was unwilling to look at it, or to consider it, or to read articles or watch videos? And I think, you know, I'm very glad you made the video, because I personally believe that all the pilots know that something's going on. They may not know exactly what, but I think they all know. I've had pilots phone me and tell me, thank you for telling the truth about this. Thank you for exposing the fact that these high bypass turbo fans, which are mounted on all the large military jets, all the commercial jets, they use high bypass, they're very efficient turbofan engines, do not produce trails. I had a guy call me who was a pilot as a hobby, and his wife was a full-time veteran, 25 years. She was flying for a carrier, a parcel carrier. He didn't want to tell me the name, and I didn't ask. You know, I just let him talk. And she'd been flying for 25 years, and she goes, we've never seen trails come out of jets. You know, we've never seen anything like this before. You know, he's been flying all his life as a hobby. His wife has been flying commercially for 25 years. And he just said, just want to let you know, I appreciate what you're doing by letting the people know about this, because this is, you know, this something's going on. I think all pilots who've been a pilot for any length of time, they know this, you know. But I think what's going to happen is new pilots and new mechanics and new flight personnel are all going to be trained to believe that these trails are normal. Just like the children are being trained that right now in elementary school in the United States, and I'm sure other countries as well. They're being taught that these trails are normal condensation plumes from the engines, which is absolutely untrue. It's a complete lie. So I'm personally very glad you made the video. I noticed the new version of the video has the face blanked out and the voice is obscured a little bit, so you can't really make out who it is, but you can still hear what he's saying.
Exactly.
And that'll probably make a lot of people happy who thought who thought you weren't recording when you, or were recording when you shouldn't have. But nevertheless, the big picture here is that this pilot was honest. He looked like a very intelligent guy. He was very sharp. He was, like a pilot should be. If you want your pilots to be very sharp and very intelligent, and he answered you very directly and intelligently, and
Yeah.
so they know what's going on. This is just more evidence of what we already know, and it's very good evidence. It's the best. It's just the best evidence we have yet. So I'm very happy to see this out there. So I thank you before for this, but thank you for making it. It was a great idea.
Yeah. Look, I mean, I was traveling to San Luis Potosí. It's another town in Mexico, and I saw the door open of the pilot, and I had my camera with me, so I thought, this is the chance, just try it. And I can, like I told in your show, I can recommend all the people do the same, because many pilots, for example, the cockpit is open. Not all, maybe the big planes, they don't open it, but if you see that, take that chance, because it's our right to know. I mean, we don't get any answer of the governments. All the people are writing to the governments. We are making demonstrations. There are thousands of websites outside which are talking about that, but there's no one official answer. I mean, if I would be a president, because many people say the president not even knows about it. Maybe they're all also being lied. That is just another program of whatever, So, but they should also research in that case if they don't know about what it is. What I don't believe, because I mean, if someone is spraying your family, you should be I don't know, wild. I mean, I mean, it's murdering, maybe people dying, not from one day to the other, but with the time. I mean, you're suffering. You had a heart attack. You told that in other live streams. So I mean, I know you are a honest man, and we had some chats before and everything. And we are not actors. You're not an actor. I'm not an. I mean, I work like an actor sometimes in commercials. That is to make some money. But this project Lights Out, this is not a lie. I'm activist. Let's say since 2007, trying to save the world and giving some ideas to make everything better. And yeah, I mean, I don't like that. I mean, if we are getting sprayed and we are getting sick of it and whatever, I mean, it's our right to ask for it. And when I made that interview, I asked, may I take or can I talk to the pilot? Yes, here. The stewardess. I mean, it started in Spanish because it was in that country people speak Spanish. The first guy, I think he's also a pilot. He even said, I don't speak English, sorry. So I mean, of course pilots know to speak English because it's kind of their job. So he didn't want to talk. And the other guy, the younger guy, the pilot, he did really a great job. He was friendly. And I also would like to say to the there's one website they put like the pilot idiota in Espanol, like he's a stupid guy. No, that guy deserves respect because he couldn't maybe say more, but you can listen to the voice. I don't put that video right now here because maybe they will cancel the whole live stream and censor everything. I will put it like an down on the video when I upload it to YouTube. I will put the link with the new version of that video, which a friend of us just uploaded some days ago. So that this video can't be deleted. We will just talk about it. And yeah, I mean, it's not fair when you insult someone who wanted to tell the truth. Maybe he's also fearing that something happened to him or to his family. Maybe they're under some pressure or whatever. We don't know because he didn't say more. But I could listen to his voice because his voice was getting like a sad voice at the end. You know, like there's a big debate about it, and there's when he said those words like it's a necessary evil and everything. I mean, he knew that this is bad because evil means bad, means horrible, whatever. But it's necessary. Maybe they are what I think, because I mean I don't know also the answer. I'm just researching this like everybody does. But when he says necessary, is maybe the people say, okay, you have to do it because of whatever, you know, climate change. They can use so many excuses for that. So he admitted it. It's a necessary evil. He never said it's not true. If he would say that, then everybody has right to criticize that interview and say no, Hans is lying or whatever. I mean, I not even said anything. I just asked him, but he answered correctly, like professionally, and that is my impression. If you really analyze that video, you can really hear that he is not talking like, yeah, we have to do it. It's necessary, you know. No, he said it's a necessary evil, and there's a big debate. When he says it's a big debate, maybe between them, they have also, I mean, a pilot and another pilot, maybe they are meeting in the airport having a beer together, or okay, they may not drink alcohol, but some some lemonade or whatever, you know, and they have.
Let's hope not.
Yeah, imagine like there was a funny movie about this. I think with Denzel Washington. I don't know. I don't remember. Flight was the name, I think, of the movie where the pilot was really drinking, but he took some I don't know, some drugs to get better again or something. I think Flight was the movie, no? But okay, that's another question if they drink or not. Okay, would be fun. But I won't fly with that plane. Okay, so so I think maybe between them also, I mean, when you work in something, and I mean those videos are, they even caught me, those videos, they caught my attention years ago. So I think maybe he also, I mean, he knows anyway what a chemtrail is, you know, and then it's obvious that you ask your colleagues, your friends, your the other pilots, for example, what do you think about it, or have you heard about it? And okay, he knows what it is. He knows that's a bad evil. So we really should do more research on that all, and also insist that the governments talk about it or investigate it, or I don't know. I mean, I cannot do much more here because I'm limited. I don't have the money to travel and ask every pilot around here. But those people who are flying and can do the same. I mean, everybody has a cell phone with a camera right now. They could do the same, you know. So I mean, would be great if people can continue with this kind of investigation to get more out of this. And yeah, so I mean, yeah. I cannot.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's great to you know, it's video is very powerful, and to hear a pilot actually say this on video is great. And I know that, you know, the phone calls, when I had pilots call me, I would love to have recorded the phone calls, but of course that's illegal, so I couldn't do that. But I just wish people could hear it, because these pilots are thanking me and saying that they never saw trails come out of jet engines before all of this stuff started. And of course that makes sense, because these engines don't produce trails under extremely rare conditions, so rare that most people will never see one. It's the low bypass turbofans and the turbojets that have the potential to create trails. This is why sometimes these debunkers will say things like, they'll say, oh, well, there are patents for devices for contrail suppression. And I've responded to them directly. I've had them approach me directly, and people say this, say, you know, there were patents for contrail suppression because these engines do produce contrails. And I'm like, no, wait a minute, you're generalizing. High bypass turbofans are not the engines that these devices were created for. They're for the low bypass turbofans, which are in jet fighters, and turbojets, which are in jet fighters, because in your fighters, you don't want your enemy, if you're flying over an enemy land, you don't want them to be able to see your jet.
Exactly.
You don't want them to be able to see trails. Who cares with high bypass turbofans, or who cares? Why would you invent technology, expensive technology, to suppress contrails if they existed on commercial airliners? Because who really cares? The reason is because they don't produce trails.
Exactly.
And the sad thing that's again, so those patents are for jet fighter engines, which are low bypass turbofans, which are a less efficient engine. They use more fuel per amount of air. The air travels at a higher velocity. The air is hotter. In a low bypass turbofan, it's a larger volume of air moving at a slower speed. In most of the air that travels through your regular high bypass turbofan is pushed by a propeller. It's called the fan. It's the fan that's right in the front of the engine. Yeah, it's a thing you see spinning when you look at the front of an engine, of a jet engine. If you're at the airport, you see that thing spinning. That's the fan, and that most of the air blows right through the fan, and that fan is driven by a turbine engine, and the turbine is what actually uses the fuel. But it's the fan that pushes most of the air. So I believe that all veteran pilots, the pilots have been pilots for 15 or more years. They know this. Probably 10 or 15 years ago, they started teaching pilots, mechanics, and other airline personnel that contrails are normal. So you're going to have a new generation of pilots thinking this is normal. And how are they ever going to know? They're never going to know whether they're normal or not, because they've never tested them. They've never been on a study in firsthand. You know how the medical industry lies about studies. They create data, they set up studies so the outcome will come out a certain way, and they know what it's going to come out. So they design the study to be biased in a certain direction. So, you're going to see all kinds of disinformation coming out. The pilots are going to be taught that there were studies, and they tried, just like dentists. Dentists are lied to about amalgam fillings, and for decades now they've been installing poisonous fillings, and now the government's finally being forced to do an about-face on the whole amalgam issue, and there are other issues as well, and they're being forced because of alternative media. The alternative media is telling the truth, pointing out the lies, and the public is waking up, and the public has the power to turn these things around if people would get active. You've got to put 5 minutes a day at least, 5 days a week, into notifying your friends and family about some issue, whatever you feel strongly about, whether it's GMOs, vaccines, fracking, smart meters, chemtrails. I personally pick the chemtrail issue because I believe it is the biggest, single most dangerous, and it affects everybody and every plant, every animal. It affects the oceans, it affects the soil. So that is the issue that really, and plus it affects me profoundly. It has ruined the last 8 years of my life. The quality of my life has not been the same. But I just, I love the opportunity to be on here with you. I know you're doing a 24-hour marathon here, and I love to be on and just tell people the truth about the engines. We're being lied to about it. And this is a crime against humanity. Like you said earlier, I believe the pilots want to talk, but they are afraid of losing their jobs. They've probably been told that they're not allowed to talk about it in public. There are many commercial jobs. There are many service jobs throughout history where the employees have been told, you're not allowed to tell this to the public. And I think this is just another example where the pilots are not being allowed to talk to the public honestly about this. But I think they feel strongly. I think they know something's up, and that is why, you made a good point, that is why that pilot called it a necessary evil. He knows it's evil. Now, he may be saying it's necessary because maybe he was taught it fights global warming. But the reason he says it's evil is probably at least because he knows that it's doing damage. There is damage that's going to result from this. So or he may have called it a necessary evil to buffer it. I'm not sure, but he did refer to it as evil. So I think that's shows that they know, they know.
Exactly. And let me tell you another thing, because many people will say, no, they because of the temperature of the cloud, I mean of the sky and everything, they are trails. But if that would be, you would see. I mean, I live in Mexico City. There's an airport, and there are thousands of planes starting and landing every day. It would be full of chemtrails. But here, for example, there are just sometimes someone. How is it possible? Of those thousands of planes that you just see some. I mean, this also is a proof that the planes normally they don't have it, you know. So when I see a chemtrail, so this is a special mission, someone who really wants to spray at us some chemicals or whatever, because if, yeah, like I told you, if that would be normal, that all the planes have it, you will see it everywhere. I mean, now we see the chemtrails everywhere, but in really formations, they're making X's, they're making lines, some really make turns, whatever. I mean, those are special planes which nobody knows where they are from or whatever. So I mean, this is also a proof that people have to think twice if they say it's normal. Why you don't see it on every airplane? You know, I mean, there are so many airplanes who are in the sky, and you don't see it on every airplane. You know. The other thing is also the what want I say? Okay, I saw a video. I don't know if you got this video on your Facebook wall. I think I got it the day before yesterday. At the same view, you can see a white chemtrail and a black chemtrail. So I mean, that was for me another proof that they are maybe having two different chemtrails. Maybe they do that when they are getting in touch, then they have another reaction. I don't know how that works, but it's also not normal that there's a white and a black one. So what happened with the black one? I mean, this is a new phenomenon which I never have seen before. I have seen red ones. There are videos with red ones, but that I could explain maybe because of the sun, because the light maybe changed the color. I don't know. But with the black chemtrail and the white in the same position, I mean, this is something rare. I don't know. Have you seen that black chemtrail video?
Well, yeah, I've seen a lot of them actually, and you know, I think some of them are because of the way the light's hitting. I did actually have an event here. I lived east of Bangor, Maine, and I actually had an event here where they hit us with some real hard. A couple years ago, they hit us real hard with the dark trails that just hung in the sky, but yet they obviously something fell out of the trails, and they were really, really intense. And that was actually when I finally called the state of Maine, because I couldn't breathe the air. I got in the truck and drove all the way to Bangor to see how far it went. It went all the way into Bangor. It was absolutely horrible. Then I think, you know, what people need to realize too is that when you go to the airport, what you're going to see is you're going to see dark soot coming out of the back of a jet engine, and that dark soot is burnt kerosene, because jet fuel is essentially kerosene. So when that kerosene burns, you see that dark soot. You're not going to see water vapor. You're not going to see it, even if it's raining out, even if it's terribly humid, whether it's snowing and cold. You don't see it. You'll never see it, and it's because those engines don't produce it. And so what the people try to say is, well, if you go to high altitudes, it's even less capable of being made, because the air's super dry, the air's thinner. You need, in order to make condensation, you need vacuum. But on the output of an engine is pressure, not vacuum. You need heat, but high bypass turbofans. I mean, if you see jet fighters, you rarely you rarely see condensation trails coming from a low bypass turbofan. I mean, most people probably never seen trails. I grew up in Tampa Bay, which is north of. There was an Air Force base down in South Tampa Bay, south of Hyde Park, there called MacDill Air Force Base. And once in a while, we'd see fighters go over our house. You know, they'd come up north of Tampa Bay, and we'd see them scream across the sky. Never saw trails coming out of those. And those engines are much, much, much more capable because they're less efficient. They burn more fuel per the amount of air that they move. They have a much higher velocity of air going through the engines. And you almost never see condensation coming out of those. And the high bypass turbofans are 25% more efficient, if not more. They have a much more high ratio of air. You've got pressure on the output. You have you just don't have the conditions necessary for contrail formations. This is why, as a sky watcher, I've watched the sky since I was before 10 years old. I've watched the sky. When I was a kid, I used to draw pictures in elementary school. I'd draw pictures of rockets and jets. That was my favorite subject. Always watch the sky. I collected pictures of jets, and I never had a picture of a trail come out of a jet engine. If we or my friends, I had some friends who were into jets as well, and if they had ever seen a trail come out of a jet engine, we would have thought that the engine was on fire or something was wrong with it. We would have wondered what was wrong because it was something you never saw.
Exactly.
So. When you're at an airport, you're going to see the reality because you're close up. And when you're in an airport, I can smell it. I can smell kerosene all over the place. I mean, even when I'm approaching, I have a very sensitive sense of taste and smell. So as I approach an airport, even sometimes a mile or 2 miles away, I start to smell kerosene in the air if I'm downwind of the airport. And the whole airport smells like kerosene to me. Wherever you go, you just smell that jet fuel smell, which is kerosene, essentially. And when those jets take off, you'll see that black soot coming out, and that's perfectly normal. That's what you're supposed to see. That's what burnt fuel looks like.
Yep.
And by the way, when a jet engine is at cruising altitude, it's running much, much more efficiently. If there ever was going to be contrail formation, it would be on the ground during takeoff when you've got your engines at their highest power. They're working at their least efficiency. They're burning the maximum amount of fuel. You've got the largest pressure differential on the output of the engine. If there were such things as contrails coming out of engines, you'll see them at takeoff. But guess what? You don't see them.
Exactly.
Never seen them. Never.
Exactly.
Never. Living in Tampa Bay area. Tampa Bay area is one of the busiest airspaces on the planet. You look up almost any time. When I was growing up, there's a jet in the air. Wherever you look, jets in the air all the time. I mean, it's an international airport. Tampa Bay is a beautiful airport. They have these trams that go out to the gates. It's very cool. It's a very nicely built, very nicely designed airport. It's easy to get around. You hardly have to walk at all. You can get out of your car, you go down an elevator, you're right near the check-in, and then you take a little walk over to a tram. It takes you right to the gate, and you walk, a couple hundred feet. So you hardly do any walking. It's an excellent airport. Big international airport. There's also St. Pete International Airport. There's other airports. And so anytime I looked up, and I would look up all the time, I've never seen a trail coming out of an engine. I also lived on military bases. I've traveled the United States. I've flown to Snowmass, Colorado, flown to Detroit, Washington State. I used to fly to New York State every year, and I would always have a window seat because I would be bored if I couldn't look out the window. As a kid, I would fly to New York State, visit relatives for 3 weeks, and then I would fly back to Florida every year. Flown to Hawaii. I've driven across the United States, watched the sky everywhere, and in probably 20,000, I don't know how many thousands upon thousands of jets I've seen flying in the sky, collected pictures and photographs, taken pictures and photographs. Not one time, not a single time have I ever seen a trail come out of a jet. And the final, I could go on, I could go on about this for hours, but here's the thing people need to know. And I know most people don't really know me personally. So, you don't know who I am. You don't know my history. You don't know if I'm an honest person or not. But I just have to tell the truth because one day this is going to come out and you're going to realize that this is the truth. Is that there is a certain group of people, very sensitive people, maybe 1 or 2% of the population that can smell and taste these trails. And I smell and taste them as if I'm in a dirty factory and you're spraying metallic dust in my face. It is so strong and overwhelming that in being able to do this now, it's been over 8 years since I first experienced this. I have paid attention to the way that the trails descend. If they descend right on us directly, it'll take only 1 to 2 minutes to go to full intensity. It'll get horrible, and it takes about 45 minutes to an hour, sometimes an hour and a half, depending on how much wind we have, for them to taper off. Other times when they come in, they'll come in, the intensity will gradually raise up, and then it'll gradually decline. And I think what happened in that case is that the trail hit ground level maybe a few miles away, and as it travels, the edges of the trail diffuse into the air, so that when the trail hits you, it's not a sudden increase in intensity, it's a gradual increase in intensity. So being able to smell and taste these trails and have the inflammatory reaction that my body does cause my joint muscle pain, and there's more and more people. The number of people who are actually having health symptoms that are unexplained, they don't know why, and some of them are beginning to smell and taste the trails where they haven't before. I think the more exposed people are, the more they can smell and taste them. And in a way, I look forward to this, because this is going to put a fire under people's feet and make this become real. I'm just some guy that they don't know saying, hey, I've smelled this from the very beginning, and for me, it's extremely intense to the point where I can't sleep when they're spraying. At night, they spray the hardest, and I can't sleep at night. I have to wait till the milder period of time during the day. They spray much milder during the day. But it's going to put a fire under the feet of people when they have who are beginning to smell and taste this all over the world.
Yeah, just take the example of an onion. When I cut an onion, the whole room where I live, I cry, and it's just a tiny onion. So I mean,
me too.
Yeah, I mean, this is a proof. You don't see it, but you feel, in this case, the eyes feel it. So with those chemtrails, when they are there, I mean, you can smell them. You know exactly what it is. That, I mean, the taste. You smell the chemicals, whatever inside. I mean, like the example of the onion. I mean, people wake up. I mean, cut an onion and make that experiment in your house. Put it some meters away, and you still cry. You have it in your eyes. Nothing else notice that. I mean, the skin not, but the eyes. So I mean, there are really some chemicals in that thing. I don't know if my webcam, no, it cannot capture it, but I have a dry skin here, and on the other hand, I published that picture several times. Here's a little light. Is like red here. Let me see if you can see it on this hand, and it's almost one. No, you cannot see it well. Almost 1 year that I have that, and that appeared right away after X or cross chemtrail over my house. I even feel it was a personal attack on myself, whatever. So I mean, I went, of course, to a doctor because I thought it's maybe a fungus, and I got it from somewhere. It's not even possible because I take my shower here, and here it's clean, and it's not like when I touch another person with that hand that the other person get it too. It's just me. And when I went to several doctors, and one of the big hospital told me, guess what, there are so many people with the same infection or whatever it is, and he said, okay, try this cream and this pills, maybe it helps, but it never helped. I tried like 5 or 6 different products, pharmacies. I mean, this is why they're making the money, because people are getting sick and then they are selling the solution. But in my case, I never get rid of this. I mean, thanks God it doesn't hurt, but I mean, I feel uncomfortable because it's dry skin, and I drink a lot of water now. Now I'm drinking a beer because It's getting late, and Germans drink beer, you know. So, but I mean, I am just a normal human like you are, you know. And I mean, I admire you that you are on this and you don't give up and you're fighting. You even have a website. What's the name of your website? I know it, but tell the public your website.
It's globalskywatch.com.
Exactly.
And there's another one too. Now Global Skywatch is all about chemtrails and geoengineering. There's another one that covers everything else, and it's called Orbis Vitae. It's Latin for circle of life. Orbis is Orbis, and Vitae is Vitae. And it's orbisvitae.com, and it's got literally hundreds of separate forums there that cover 9/11, fracking, GMOs, fluoride, smart meters. I think I said 9/11. NSA, IRS, all. I mean, it just has literally hundreds upon hundreds of videos on it. So I invite anyone who wants to learn deeper things about what's going on in the world to go visit Orbis Vitae and check that out too.
Perfect. Then there's another funny thing which I was thinking a lot the last times, because the yearly flu, where's the flu in the summer? It appears in one moment worldwide, and it disappears also, and then right away there are the vaccines. So I mean, this looks for me like a programmed sickness. I mean, it's very suspicious, and the only way that we can get sick of it is eating or the air, because this is what goes into the body, and I mean, not everybody eats the same stuff. Okay, there's geoengineering, they also can make us sick with this shit, but I suspect a lot that those chemtrails are culpable for that, because everybody smells it, and I see a lot of people sick at the same time. Here in Mexico we are millions of people, and I hear them coughing. I hear them. I even see them how sick they are looking at whatever. And when I say "Estás enfermo," which means "Are you sick?" and say yes, I mean, so many sick people right now. I never have seen it before. And also, I was talking in another live stream today about that breast cancer, about the whole cancer thing. Here in Mexico, every third woman or every 30 women of 100 have breast cancer. That means 1, 2, you have cancer. 1, 2, you have cancer. I mean, this is increasing. People are getting sick so fast, and I mean, it's not normal. I mean, I was born 65, 48 years old now, and I mean, this is something new, and I see how that is increasing. And they're putting those kind of advertisements in the street, in the metro, which is the subway system here in Mexico City, that you have to go to the vaccines. They even offer it for free. So I mean, they are making a sick obligation or I mean physical or psychical obligation that you think I have to do that because that can save me and whatever. And I don't know what they are giving us with all the nanotechnology which is available right now. I mean, they're talking about those kind of chips, but this is a joke. They're much more smaller now, and you can even put them with a shot, So I mean, I don't trust anything. They're spending more money in creating weapons and biological viruses than in curing really dangerous sicknesses, So I mean, they're also talking about so much debt in the world. United States has, I don't know how much trillion of dollars debts. I mean, everybody's working hard, paying taxes. What is happening with the money? Of course, they're using this for this, because if you're an accountant, you know where you're spending the money. And I mean, as long as people are working and are paying their taxes, there should be even more money available than being in debts. Because I mean, I don't have any savings, and if you ask, I think from 100 people here, maybe one has savings, but this is the one who has a company maybe. But normal workers, they are living from one day to the other. Like in my case, sometimes I need to work 2 days to survive one. You know, I have to eat less then. But it's the whole thing is changed, and I ask myself also what's happening with the money, why the flu is appearing at that moment and not one day later, etc. It's just like everything is programmed right now, and there's so many new medicines. You even get them for free. In Mexico, we have like pharmacies. They give you the same medicine but with another name. Like you don't have to spend that much money, but anyway, you spend some money, and people are buying that shit. You know, they are. I even know people, they are taking medicine even if they're not sick yet. You know, just yeah, I feel better if I take them. You know, they are so brainwashed and putting that poison to their healthy bodies. You know, this is also what I think. No, don't take the medicine. When I got the flu last year, I think in 12 I was coughing the whole live stream. It was also a 24-hour live stream. I don't know if you remember. I think you also were there.
I remember.
And I was
I
like
remember that.
the
Yeah,
whole
I was
day
there.
like this, you know. And I mean, I'm smoking, and now I almost don't. I'm not coughing. I mean, this is not because of the cigarettes when I'm coughing. This is another thing, because I smoke a lot. I sometimes more than one box a day, and I'm fine. Right now I'm fine, but maybe after the next chemtrail I will be like the whole day, like last year, you know. So I cannot blame it on cigarettes, the whole coughing thing, because if it would be just this, I would be dead right now after 1 year smoking every day and every day, you know. So I mean, there's something more here. It's not normal what is happening in that world. And also, next thing, I posted also on my Facebook wall, I don't know, a week ago. I bought the movie, what's the name, Turbo. It's a animation movie. It's not with actors. It's made by computers, and they put chemtrails in that movie. And there are many movies. They're manipulating now, changing the skies with chemtrails, commercials. I mean, I work or I have worked in a lot of commercials, and I know how directors are working. They want the perfect shot. I mean, if I'm a director and I have a nice product or a nice woman there drinking I don't know, a beer or whatever, I don't want to have stripes in the sky. I will put a nice blue sky instead of this, or at least normal clouds, fluffy clouds, which transmit like a better feeling, you know. But when you see this, it makes you, I mean, when I see this, it makes me even nervous. And now they're putting that even in movies for younger people, you know, not just for the old people, also for younger people, made in Hollywood. And you see so many subliminal signs in those movies. Even the soundtrack, I took a lot of screenshots. I think I even put it on your wall, that album of Turbo. Is the what is the name? Those animals who are so slow, and that animal got energy and could run so fast, you know. Snail. Snail is the name, you know. And even the snail has the mind control thing on it, which is blinking. You see a phallus later, like a yeah, you know, the erection thing, and etc. And even the soundtrack appears a song, New World Order, NWO. So I mean, there's so many coincidences in just one movie. I mean, now I watch movies different. I'm like a detective, just checking out how the skies are in the movie, you know. But I mean, it's because I know it. But the new generations right now who are watching a movie the first time, or going to the cinema and watching it on DVD or whatever, they are just getting that input here and think this is normal. So this is the thing what I think that they want to do. I mean, I have also seen, I think even on your website, how they are manipulating now the the books they give you at school where they're explaining chemtrails like contrails and blah blah blah. They not even exist. Imagine they're saying this is just normal. So the new generations, if they don't wake up now, if they don't understand or know what it is, it's really, you know, they will just think that's normal. And when our generation is dead, when you're dead, when I'm dead, and there's nobody else talking about it, then we will be like, the new generations.
They'll never know.
Yeah, they will never know, and they will just accept it and just getting, sick and whatever, you know.
Yeah, I'd love to talk about what you said about everybody gets sick at the same time. I've told this story. I know you've heard me tell it before, but because I have a very sensitive sense of taste and smell. If I smell somebody's breath, this is a little strange, but it's something I noticed since I was a child. There's a certain sensation, a certain burning sensation that I'll get in my sinuses, and there's a certain odor associated with it that's very specific and it's unique. And if people have that in their breath, I've noticed, they almost always will get sick with a cold or flu or something within about 24 hours. And I've noticed this when I was younger in life. And in fact, I got into trouble once with that because I was dating this girl. I worked at college in Florida, and I was dating this girl, and one night I detected that on her breath. And I knew there was some kind of respiratory infection, and I could tell it was real strong, and I was like, okay, she's going to get sick if she doesn't take countermeasures. So when she was getting ready to leave, she had come and visited me at work, because I worked in the theater, so it was kind of, sometimes friends would drop by and say hi during the show or, afterward or whatever. And so I told her, I said, I just want to tell you, because I'd never told this before, I said, I can kind of detect when people are they have something in their lungs or something, and I can just kind of tell that you've got like a little viral or a little bacterial infection or something. So when you go home, please, take some vitamin C, take some immune stimulator things. Because I don't want to see you get sick. And she's like, what are you telling me? And I said, well, I'm just telling you that I just have this real sensitive sense of smell. And she's like, are you telling me I have bad breath? And I was like, no, I'm not telling you have bad breath. And she got offended. She thought I was telling her she had bad breath. And I guess she was in a bad mood that night or something, but she got kind of offended by it and ended up leaving. And I'm like, I'm not saying you have bad breath. I'm just saying that, I have a sensitive sense of smell, and, I can sense this. And so she ended up leaving and getting kind of upset. And so I was, obviously bummed about that and frustrated. And so I went home. The next day I went into work, and I would come out, and I lived like 6 or 7 minutes from my work. So I'd hop in my car and go home for lunch. So I went out to my car, and there was a note under my windshield wiper, and she had written me a note saying to apologize. And she said, I went home and I woke up this morning with a sore throat, and I feel like I'm getting a cold. And so she apologized to me and said, I guess there's something to, whatever you're talking about, being able to smell and taste that. Well, I'm telling that story. I've been able to do that all of my life, and I've met other people who can do it as well. And it really just has to do with very sensitive sense of smell and taste. And I don't know, scientifically we know that there are people whose senses of sense and taste are much more sensitive. There are people who have much higher density of taste buds on their tongue, for instance, and all I can deduct is that I must be one of those people, because I really do have a very sensitive sense of smell and taste. Well, you were talking about how everybody gets sick at the same time, and I back in 2010, I'm very familiar with the chemtrail. I know that there are different types. They all have their different senses of different odors and tastes. They cause different but overlapping symptoms. But in 2010, in April of 2010, they started spraying a new type. And it tasted kind of like if you mix mushrooms with algae. And I called it the swamp water type because it was almost like what swamp water tastes like. And I happen to know what swamp water tastes like because I've fallen down a few times in the swamp growing up in Florida. So there's lots of swamp in Florida. So anyway, so swamp water has that algae type of taste to it, And so I called it the swamp water. And the thing about this chemtrail type, it's the only type that actually causes, it has the odor, and it causes the same sensation in my nose, that burning, but it's a very specific type of burn that happens when somebody's breath smells when they're going to get sick. It's the same thing. And I was astonished when I started smelling and tasting that, because I'm like, oh my gosh, they are starting to spray biological organisms of some type, some kind of bacteria or virus or whatever that is. They're starting to do it. And sure enough, now it's 2013. For the past 3 years, ever since, whenever they spray that particular type, if they spray it real hard for 3 days or more in a row, guess what? Everybody locally starts getting cold and flu symptoms. In fact, they sprayed for 5 or 7 days in a row back last year here, that particular type, and they ended up shutting down the schools because there were so many kids were sick. The pediatricians' offices were 3 weeks backed up because they were just, in line. People were waiting to get their kids in, and it was always associated with that chemtrail type. So I just want to warn people that based on just common sense and my ability to smell and taste these things, I feel it's my responsibility, and many people have contacted me as well who have the same sensitive smell and taste, that they've experienced the same thing, that when there's a certain type of chemtrail that's sprayed, that particular type, people get sick with colds and flu. And it always happens with me. If they spray that type in the morning, like when I'm sleeping, I sleep in the morning and early afternoon, I have to. But if they happen to be spraying that type while I'm sleeping, I will wake up with a sore throat. And immediately I'll have to take immune stimulators and vitamin D and C and echinacea and other things that I take. And I can usually knock it out of my system in 2 to 4 hours if it's not too bad. But always it's associated with that specific chemtrail type. So I think you're absolutely right about people getting sick at the same. And I also say one more thing, is when chemtrails started for the first time back in 2005 when I lived in Jamestown, New York, I used to watch TV. I would go to bed at about 4 in the morning, get up about 11 in the afternoon, or 11 in the morning. And I would watch TV for about half an hour to an hour as I was going to bed. And all of a sudden, in 2005, every single commercial break, they would have advertisements for Visine, and they would be talking about dry eyes all the time. I mean, it was just, it was almost literally every single commercial break all of a sudden. And I was like, what on earth is this? This is strange. It's just all of a sudden they're doing all this advertising. And I've learned with my political background to keep my eyes open for things like that, because that sometimes means that you're going to see something change. And sure enough, after that, I started waking up. Shortly after that, within something like 4 weeks or 6 weeks after those commercials started, I would wake up in the morning. I'll never forget this. My eyes were so dry that I literally could not open them. They would be just, if I forced them open, it would cause immense pain. So when I woke up in the morning, I would have to gently massage my closed eyes to work up some moisture, and then I could finally open them. And that was just 4 to 6 weeks after those dry eye commercials started, and I started seeing the chemtrails in the air at that time, off and on. It wasn't daily, but it was off and on, and that went on for a few months. So they were kind of getting people used to it. And of course, those companies that produced all the eye moisturizers or Visine, things like that, are obviously capitalizing on this by advertising this when everybody gets sick. So there's definitely a correlation. It's hard for people to grasp this, and I get that. If you're new to this subject and you're like, well, what does Visine have to do with chemtrails? These are different people. This is a private corporation. What most people don't realize is you need to watch the movie called Corporation Nation. And what that will explain to you is that the U.S. government has as subsidiaries, every municipality, every city, every township, every corporate entity in the United States are under them in a hierarchical fashion. And most international corporations, virtually all the Fortune 500 corporations, are owned with controlling shares by groups of these subsidiary corporations. So what does that mean? What does that mean? That means that there's a very, very small group of people sitting at the top of a pyramid. If you go to mantra.org, you can look up corporations and you'll find that the U.S. court system is a corporation. You'll find that the Obama administration is a corporation. You'll find that the U.S. Army, the Marines, the Navy, the Air Force are corporations, and there are sub-corporations within those corporations. You'll find out that the city of Baltimore, Maryland is a corporation. You'll find out that the state of New York is a corporation. You'll find out that all of these corporations are arranged in a pyramid hierarchy, and this is done purposefully. And this is not me saying this. This is fully documented in the movie Corporation Nation. It's right from their own accounting paperwork. You can see it. And once you understand this, then all of this starts to make sense, because then you'll realize that if you're asking yourself the question, well, why does Visine, the company that makes Visine, how would they know that chemtrails were about to start? Well, they would know because they're a subsidiary of the U.S. government, of the military. So when the military is going to begin this operation, they've notified the corporation months ahead of time, so they can put together their advertising campaign and coordinate their advertising campaign with the beginning of the spraying.
Yep.
And it's in the best interest of the U.S. government, because they profit from the dividends and the other payouts from their stock holdings. So everybody wins except for the American public. The American public loses, but the large corporations and the fat cats in government, those are the ones that win. And once you understand that that's the way the structure of government is set up, then all of this coordination between the military, all the branches of government, all the states, all of the counties, all of the cities, and the large corporations around the world, this tremendous cooperation, like you were talking about, they're putting chemtrails in movies now. Why is there such cooperation? Because the movie houses are owned as subsidiaries of the U.S. government and its subsidiaries. And so they tell them, they dictate and say, you need to normalize chemtrails, or the trails coming out of jets. You need to put them in magazines, in ads. You need to put them in children's movies. We need to make textbooks. We need to normalize. It's called normalization. So the public doesn't suspect that this is something strange. You want to make the public think that this has been going on forever. And that is exactly how they coordinate it through all of these corporations. They are all tied together intimately through a pyramidal structure of stock holdings.
Wow, yeah, no, that's absolutely logical what you said, and I think they are doing that because it's not a big coincidence that there's just a medicine there, you know. I mean, when you watch all the things happening in the movies and the magazines, I mean, this is really something they, coordination, they get that. You have to do that, you know. I mean, it's like in the movies for sure. When they are, for example, they're doing that turbo movie, that the guy who is designing that thing digitally, he get that order, make it with a stripe. What would? Oh my God! I mean, I feel so useless here, because I'm sitting here and know that it's going on, and they're still doing more every day. There's so many new movies out every week. There's a new movie or 4 new movies in the cinemas with where you can see that. So I mean, I feel like I have to stop this madness. We have to do something. That's why I do also this 24-hour live stream, to bring people together, because we are, I mean, you know it, I know it, in our chemtrail groups in Facebook, thousands of people, or millions when you count them all together, they know it, but we are just sitting, commenting and taking videos, but we need actions, you know. We need really to do something, because I mean, I'm now almost 7 years trying to do something, waking up the people, but it's still going on. And for sure we will live stream next year the same things, talking about another movie which has the chemtrails in it, and a new medicine which just is out for selling and whatever. but we need, I mean, that's why I do the live streams also, to wake the people up that they who have the possibilities to move, who people, for example, who lives close to Hollywood, that they just knock the door and say, hey, um, you're doing that, who told you to do that? Because then we can follow that, I mean, it's like following, okay, you spend $1 on this, then where's the dollar now? Okay, the dollar moved from this place to this place, and who has it at the end? This is the guy who who, who has the power, you know. And to follow this, maybe we can get someone, at least a whistleblower out, who say, I mean, we need whistleblowers also, because those are the only ones who can give the correct information, who is involved in all this and everything. So yeah, I mean, we cannot do more than inform the people, talk about it. But if someone is close to a studio or working in a magazine company, a photographer who gets told to make that, then maybe we can convince someone that he talks, you know. And yeah, it's, I mean, it's almost impossible, but it's also possible to find those people and getting more information on this. We just need to move, you know. I mean, I'm sitting here in my chair, and I wanna stop the, you know, you're my friend, and I feel bad when you're suffering of that chemtrails, because you smell them. And I mean, you deserve to smell nice smells, no, like flowers or whatever. Like, everybody should smell it. I mean, here in the city you almost don't smell anything because it's so contaminated also. But we have the right to live on the planet, not just like a slave, born to consume and to die sick, of course, you know, because we not even reached that age like many people reached in the past. For example, I smoke, and my all my family in the past smoked like hell. I mean, they smoked even without the filters. Maybe in the filters is also poison, for sure. I mean, it says on the packages what is inside, but we don't know the whole substances either. I'm starting coughing here, but I mean, my uncles, for example, they were over 90 years old, but not 90 years in the bed sitting waiting for the nurse. No, they were active. They went to the woods, made I mean, in the past there wasn't there didn't exist those electric heaters. You had to put coal or woods in the stufa, where you're cooking and whatever, to make it warm and everything. And they were healthy. And now when you see old people, they're on rolling chairs a lot. Many people not even get at that age. And when you're retired, what are you doing? People are dying little by little. In other countries, they are just pushed in asylums, for example. In Mexico, some families take care of the old people, which is much better, because you can die at least close to your family and not alone in some hospital far away from them. I mean, everything is changing. The whole society is changing, because I mean, I see that. I mean, I'm living almost 50 years on that planet, and I have now 20 years living in Mexico City, and I see how people are changing. When you ask them, look at the sky, for example, what do you see? Nothing, and it's full of chemtrails, and they see nothing. It's like they're hypnosis with hypnosis or whatever. They say, what, you don't see anything? They say, check, no, look at this lines here. What is that? That's from the planes. You know, like, there's nothing special on it. They have to know that they're getting poisoned. My God, this is horrible. I mean, they're spraying at your family, at your if people are married, at their wives and husbands and children, whatever. I mean, here in Mexico, the people are so pissed when you insult someone, then they say, "Well, cabron," and then they fight, you know. But they're getting sprayed like cucarachas, and they just, no, nothing happened here, you know. I mean, they really should know. And yeah, it's great always to have you here to to also give more information, because you know more about this than I know. I mean, I'm new in this since some years only. I discovered it also, but really we have to move. We have to do something. We have to share that. People, if you're watching this now, not just watching and say, what the hell, you know, and then you continue consuming and watching soap operas. No, no, no. With this, you don't help anyone. We have to share this information, talk with the friends. Have you heard about this? Yesterday I had a friend here. He gave me a solar panel. I show it to you. It's a big one which charges cars, the battery of the cars. I mean, my webcam is very bad
cool.
here. Yeah, it's very cool.
Yeah.
And yeah, and I was preparing the live stream. For example, I have here my T-shirt with the same symbol of that live stream. You know, we are celebrating today the Day of the Dead in Mexico. It's a very famous day. So I had my computer on with preparing all this stuff, and he said, what is this, you know? And I say, it's yeah, for my live stream tomorrow. And what will you talk? Okay, culture, things, music, and whatever, and chemtrails. And he say, chemtrails, what is that? So I caught his attention, just telling him chemtrails, the word, and he asked, what is a chemtrail? Then I explained it to him. I showed him just opening in Google a website, I mean the image site where you put chemtrails, and then you can choose watching videos or the whole web stuff or just the images. And then I explained it to him, and he was impressed. He didn't say, you're crazy. He really believed it. So I mean, this is also a tip what I can tell you, because many people will say, no, if I tell that, they will all think I'm crazy. No, there's so many proofs even on the web, but you just have to research it and watch it. And he's working at a very big company, and he will first do a research asking all those people how many people will know what is a chemtrail or not. And for sure nobody will know it, what I can imagine, or maybe one who is maybe researching also, but I guess it's like 99% who never have heard even that word. And then he will explain it to them also. So I have waken up one person yesterday. That was just excellent, and the whole people should do the same thing. Just talk about it. Do you know the word chemtrail? No, what is it? Because it's normal. What is that word? You know, if you heard it the first time, and then I mean, never give up. I mean, you know it, I know it, and many people should also ask other people, wake them up. Then maybe someone who has some money or can permit to do something more, maybe helping with some flyers or something. I mean, if I would have enough money, I would make 10,000s of flyers and just give it everybody here in Mexico City. They're spraying your family, they're killing your family, whatever, and what, you know, and then we will have more help. So it's not just sharing the videos, also talk in person to the people, and don't fear people. Don't think they are looking you like crazy. And if forget that friend, because he never would even help you if he sees you like crazy. If you want to help him, then it's not really a good friend, you know, because friends are there to help each other. Friends are there to yeah, if you're sad, for example, guess what, my wife left me, okay, come here, you know, you give him some things. Momentito. The skywriting. Yes. I will tell you a very nice idea. You know, the skywriting there, I mean, I have seen also videos where they are really writing in the sky some messages.
I've called the companies about that.
You did it already? Okay, yeah, because this would be nice. Imagine, just Google chemtrails or chemtrails kill your family, something like this, that people say, what? And then maybe that could help. Tell me about that. You told me you did it already. What happened?
Yeah, let me look up to see if I called a company that does that. And you've seen what they call the digital skywriting too. Have you seen it where they have the little dots?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, and there was one that was real popular going around that said SOS.
Mm-hmm. I have seen that too.
Let me see if I can find that information here.
Yeah.
And I can tell people what the prices are for this, because I did call a company. I got all the pricing for doing that, and I would like somebody to contact me if they would like to manage a project of raising the money to have that done over a large city.
Exactly.
But let me see if I can find the prices here.
Okay, meanwhile you're looking for the prices. I mean, this would be, I mean, I cannot buy that service, you know, that they're doing this, but between all of us, I mean, I really would give $5 or $10. Imagine we are hundred thousands or millions who are doing this. We can afford that. I mean, with just some money, some donations or whatever, that maybe could help. Or even go all together, meet each other like in a demonstration, that nobody steals the money, because with the donations you also have to take care, because there are so many people also who make that for business, you know. So I mean, we could really arrange like a meeting between all those truders, and just knock the door all together in front of this. Hey, here's the money, everybody pays right now, bill paid, and the pilot just put the message on the sky. And it even would be better if there's, for example, a football game. Imagine, because there's the TV also filming that football game, and imagine in the background is standing, they are killing you, whatever. I mean, that would be excellent, because then it would be even on TV, you know, something like this, some concert or whatever, which is on TV, some sport event or the car runnings or whatever. I mean, that would be fabulous. Or just if it's not possible, maybe they're getting forbidden that they can do that over a stadium or whatever, but over a big city, you know, where everybody can see it, and people take videos, you know, and upload them to Facebook. They say, look, it's really there. I mean, you even can see it. You can write on the sky. So this is man-made. This is not a machine, a natural phenomenon, etc. So I mean, this would be a great idea to make some action like this. What do you think?
Oh, absolutely. I can't find the pricing for it. I must have it buried in my notes somewhere. But if I remember right, there was two types of services that they offered. If anybody's interested in managing a project like this, I don't have the time. I am doing everything I can, and my time is maxed out. The only reason I'm here is because I actually take Saturdays off, and I always try to make time for any time Hans does something. But other than that, I'm working. But if somebody wants to manage a project like this, contact me at globalskywatch.com, and I will help however I can. But somebody needs to raise the funds. Now, to do regular conventional skywriting, they actually had all the prices laid out when I talked to the guy. It was like you could pick your city, like Los Angeles, New York, Seattle, Austin, Texas, whatever you want. And there's different prices for different cities, because they have to, fuel cost is different, travel time is different, whatever.
Yeah.
But for conventional skywriting was something on the order of like as cheap as like $1,500 for a message or something like that, up to maybe $3,500 or something. You could, like for a one-time event. So that is really pretty reasonable. Now the digital, I'll give the website to people if they want to go look at it. It's called airsign.com, AIRSIGN.com. This is the company that I called. You can also see that they do the digital skywriting, and what this is, and the guy explained it. I was on the phone with him for probably 25 minutes and got all the information, so I've got it somewhere in my notes. But what they do is they have about like 7 planes that fly in a line together, and they're all digitally controlled by a computer, so they release little spurts of smoke at just the right time, so they make digital letters.
Yep.
And the advantage of this is that the message stays longer in the sky, and the message is much larger. It's viewable from a much larger area, because they fly at a higher altitude and they make the letters much bigger. Because you can imagine if you've got 7 planes flying in a row, and they're releasing the puffs of smoke at just the right time to make the letters.
Yep.
It's going to be a very big letter that they're making. And if you look on the homepage of airsign.com, you can actually see where it says skywriting, and they actually have a sample. I'm looking at it right now, where they do this in the sky. So now that was a lot more expensive. That for like a one-time event over a major city was, if I remember right, reaching from anywhere from like $8,000 to $15,000. But the coverage was very huge. I mean, you can cover an entire city in one event for just, between $8,000 and $15,000 or something.
It's
in
not
that.
even a
I'm trying to
car.
remember.
It's not even a car, but
that was the ballpark.
yeah.
Yeah,
You also.
I mean, if we get 1,000 people donating $10 or $15, we've got our $15,000. You can cover an entire city in one swoop. And not only do people look up and see this, but people are going to take pictures of it, and they're going to put videos on YouTube. They're going to put share videos with their friends of this cool thing that happened, and you're going to get a lot of coverage from it. So if anybody's interested in doing this, contact me at globalskywatch.com, and I'll help arrange an event. First, we got to do a fundraiser, and we have to target a city, and then we need to arrange with this company to have it done over that city. So it would be great. I would love to do it.
Wow, no, it's a great idea to inform the public. Even we could make a Morse code, because like D, like SOS, just a Morse code, which maybe would be even cheaper, because it's not writing all those things. It's just a slash and a dot and a slash and etc. And then people will say, it looks like a Morse code. Okay, let me check out this. It's like even playing, and then say, oh my God, look at that message. I mean, there's so many ideas we can put the message out. If I guess it's cheaper. For example, a Morse code for people who cannot afford it. Maybe we can arrange this, or really the writing, which it would be even better, the writing, because then people see directly. But I mean, there are so many ideas what we can do to wake up the people. And I mean, I would pay those $15. I mean, if I can afford some fucking cigarettes here, I can afford a painting, So I mean, I think it's a great idea. Yeah. And I've been meaning to bring it up to our group. In fact, I think I brought it up on our Monday night meetings. We have a phone conference every Monday night at globalskywatch.com. And I think I brought it up. I didn't have anybody contact me yet about it, though. But I need help. It's not something I can do myself. I need someone to manage the project. So it's a great idea. Hey, listen, Hans, I wonder if I could take about a 30-minute break. I got a couple things I need to take care of, and then I'd be happy to come back if you want. Okay. I mean, I will stay awake anyway for some hours more here. And I don't know. I wrote Max Bliss a message, and others I contacted even yesterday, talking about that. We will talk about all this, but I don't get them online here, and on Facebook it seems they're not here. There's John Massaria, who made that great video. I think you also know him.
Yeah.
Because
he makes fantastic videos. He does great stuff.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what I'll do is before I come back, I will I'll send Paul Mack. I'll send Paul Mack in Australia and Max Bliss a couple messages, because they should be getting up about now.
Okay.
They should be getting up in the morning about now. So if any of them can break free and join us for a few minutes, I'll write them a note before I come back. How's that?
That would be fantastic. You count on me. I'm here. Just inbox me and or send me here. I mean, I have the Uvo Messenger open the whole night and the next day, so it's faster with the Uvo. Send me a message. I'm back, and I found Max Bliss or whatever, and then I can also publish that on Facebook. That people, many people are awake even until the morning. I see that also when I'm posting. That person is still awake also. So we can get some public maybe watching it even live. And if not, I mean, this will be recorded, and tomorrow the whole world can share the video, and we will get hundreds or thousands of new viewers and help people. Okay, count on me. I'm here. Was nice seeing you. If you don't join again, or if something happened, also let me know that I know what to do, because if there's nobody, I will take a nap for for a little while. But
Okay.
I'm
Well,
here.
no, I'll definitely come back.
Okay.
I'll probably be free between 3:15. I'm in the Eastern time zone, so about
Uh-huh.
25 minutes to 40 minutes, somewhere in there. So it would be about 3:15 to 3:30 in the morning my time. I'll definitely come back. I
Perfect.
will definitely be back.
Perfect. So now let me just save that video, and I will upload it right away to YouTube also. So I think when you're back, it's even on YouTube. And I will put it now part 1, and then we make the part 2. Even if you don't find Mats,
Perfect.
please,
So
and the other friends, yeah, let's keep talking, just you and me, which is also great. So see you in a while, man. Great work.
all right, good
Thank you.
talking to you, Hans. I'll see you in a little bit.
Okay, see you later.
Okay. All right. Bye bye.
Bye bye.